Hey everyone, welcome back to Grandpa English Channel. I'm your friend Jake.
And I'm your friend Amy. We're super excited for this conversation. Seriously, I can barely contain myself.
Same here. So, Amy, how's it going today?
I'm doing pretty good. Thanks for asking. How about you?
I'm great. Just excited to dive into today's topic.
Yeah, because today we're talking about something most English learners really struggle with: how to improve your English speaking.
Exactly. We're going to share 5 practical ways to help you speak more confidently and more naturally.
But before we get started, if you're enjoying the channel, don't forget to like this video and subscribe so you don't miss any upcoming episodes.
All right, before we start, I just want to say something. If you're listening to this right now and thinking, yeah, another video about improving English speaking, I get you.
Same. Because most of the advice out there sounds nice, but when you try it, nothing really changes.
Exactly. People watch videos, feel motivated for like 10 minutes, then they close YouTube and go back to not speaking at all.
And then they blame themselves. I'm bad at languages. I don't have talent. My accent is terrible.
Which is honestly nonsense. Total nonsense. The real problem isn't intelligence. It's not memory. It's not even grammar.
It's fear and overthinking.
Big time. Let's be honest, most English learners can understand way more than they can say.
Oh yeah, they watch Netflix, understand podcasts, read posts online, but when it's time to speak,
Their brain just goes, give me a second, and never comes back.
yeah, exactly. And what's funny is they think the solution is more studying, more grammar rules, more vocabulary lists, more apps.
But speaking doesn't improve by studying speaking. It improves by speaking, even badly.
Before we give you any techniques, there's one mindset shift you need to make.
Yeah, if you skip this part, everything else will feel hard.
Here it is. You don't become confident, then speak. You speak, and confidence comes later. Most people wait for confidence like it's permission.
Once I feel ready, I'll start talking. But ready never shows up. Never.
Confidence is a side effect, not a requirement.
And this is why solo practice is so important in the beginning.
A lot of learners think they need native speakers right away, which sounds logical, but it's actually intimidating.
Yeah, imagine never playing piano before and suddenly performing in front of people. You'd panic. Same thing with speaking English.
So instead of jumping straight into conversations, we start alone. No pressure, no embarrassment, no one correcting you mid-sentence. Just you and your English.
Let me ask you something. When was the last time you allowed yourself to speak badly in English?
Most people don't allow it at all. They stop themselves before they even start. I'll sound stupid, I'll make mistakes, they'll judge me.
But the truth no one says clearly is you cannot speak well without speaking badly first. It's impossible. Your first sentences will be slow, broken, awkward.
And that's not a failure, that's step one. The problem is, schools teach English like a test, right or wrong, correct or incorrect.
But real conversation isn't like that. Real conversation is messy. We pause, we repeat ourselves, we change our sentence halfway.
Even in our own language. So expecting perfection in English is just unrealistic. So if you're listening right now and thinking, okay, but what do I actually do? Don't worry, we're not throwing you into conversations yet. We start with something simple, something private.
Something that feels safe. Here's a quick exercise. No speaking yet, just think. When you don't speak English, what's stopping you? Is it vocabulary, or is it fear of sounding wrong? Is it pronunciation, or is it fear of being judged?
Most of the time, it's not the language, it's the emotion. This is where something interesting happens.
Talking to yourself.
Yeah, I know how that sounds. It sounds crazy until you try it. Because when you talk to yourself, there's no audience.
No pressure to be funny, no pressure to be correct. You can stop, restart, change your sentence, and that freedom is powerful.
For example, let's say you're making coffee in the morning. Instead of silence, you just say, okay, I'm making coffee, I need hot water, I'm kind of tired today. Simple sentences. Nothing fancy.
And suddenly, you're speaking English, not performing, not impressing anyone, just using it.
And yes, at first it feels weird. Very weird. Your brain will say, "Why are we doing this?" Ignore it. That feeling disappears faster than you think. And something else happens.
One day, you'll notice something small. You'll start a sentence, and it just comes out. No translating, no panic.
And it's not perfect, but it's real. And that moment, that's dangerous. Yeah, because now you know it's possible.
So in this first part, we're not asking you to be fluent. We're asking you to be brave enough to start. Start alone, start messy.
Because once you do that, everything else becomes easier.
Yeah, how to train your mouth and ears at the same time. And trust me, this is where things get interesting. And yeah, maybe talk to yourself a little today.
So let's talk about one of the most underrated tools for speaking, shadowing. Now, if you've never heard of shadowing before, don't worry, it sounds more complicated than it is.
Yeah, the name makes it sound like some secret spy technique.
Right? But it's actually very simple. You listen and you repeat immediately. No pausing, no thinking, no translating.
Just copy. Here's something important though. If shadowing feels difficult at first, that's normal. Actually, that's a good sign because your mouth is doing movements it's not used to.
Different sounds, different rhythm, different timing. Most learners think speaking problems are in the brain, but a lot of the time, they're in the mouth.
Your brain knows what to say, your mouth just can't keep up. So here's how you do it without overthinking. Pick something short, not a 30-minute podcast, like 20 seconds, a short clip from a show, a podcast intro, an audiobook sentence.
You press play, and you start talking with the speaker, even if you miss words, even if you sound terrible, especially if you sound terrible.
Here's a big mistake people make. They focus too much on being correct, but shadowing is about rhythm, not accuracy, speed, pauses, intonation. You're training your ear and your mouth at the same time.
It's like dancing. You don't stop the music to think about your feet. You just move. Let's be very clear about something. Shadowing will feel uncomfortable. You'll feel lost sometimes. You'll think, I don't understand everything.
That's okay. Understanding every word is not the goal. Flow is the goal.
Here's the magic part most people don't expect. After a few days of shadowing, your pronunciation starts changing without effort. Your sentences feel smoother, you hesitate less.
Not because you studied harder, but because your body learned the language. And that confidence, it feels different.
Yeah, it's not fake motivation, it's physical confidence. Now let's connect this with something we mentioned earlier, talking to yourself. But this time, we go a little deeper.
At the beginning, self-talk is just describing things. I'm making coffee. I'm tired. I need to work. That's great. But now we level it up.
Now we add opinions, thoughts, small arguments. For example, you ask yourself, is working from home actually better? And you just talk. Well, on one hand, it's comfortable. On the other hand, it's distracting. You pause. You repeat yourself.
You change your sentence. That's real speaking. Here's something uncomfortable but powerful. Recording your voice. Most people hate it. They hear their accent and think, that sounds bad. But listening to yourself is how you improve. You start noticing patterns, where you stop, where you struggle.
And slowly, your voice stops feeling foreign. There's a moment every learner remembers, when English stops feeling like a school subject and starts feeling like a tool. That moment usually happens alone, not in a classroom, not in an exam.
But in your room, talking to yourself. Let's be honest though. Progress feels slow at first, very slow. Some days you feel fluent. Some days you forget simple words. That's normal.
Fluency is not a straight line. Here's what actually matters. 10 minutes a day, shadowing, 5 minutes of self-talk. That's it. Not perfection, consistency.
And here's the interesting part. After doing this for a while, talking to people starts feeling less scary. Not easy, but possible. Because you're not starting from zero anymore. You've already been speaking.
So in this part, you trained your ear, your mouth, and your confidence quietly. No pressure, no audience. But soon,
We leave the safe zone.
yeah, next part is about real conversations.
Real people, real mistakes.
And surprisingly, real comfort.
That's where English becomes alive.
So don't stop now.
We're just getting started.
Okay, so let's be honest. Up to this point, everything felt safe.
Yeah, shadowing alone, talking to yourself, no one listening. And that's good. That's necessary. But sooner or later, you want to talk to real people.
And that's usually where fear comes back, big time.
I hear this all the time. I can speak alone, but when someone talks back, I freeze.
Same. It's like your brain suddenly forgets English exists. Your heart rate goes up, your mind goes blank, and you start overthinking every sentence while speaking.
Which is basically impossible. Here's why real conversations feel harder. They're unpredictable. You don't know the question in advance. You don't control the speed. You don't get time to prepare perfect sentences.
And honestly, that's exactly why they're powerful. Most learners make one big mistake here. They jump straight into high-pressure situations, talking to natives, at work, in meetings. That's like learning to swim by jumping into deep water. Instead, we lower the stakes.
This is where language exchange apps come in. Apps like Tandem, HelloTalk, Speaky. You're not talking to teachers. You're not talking to examiners. You're talking to another learner, someone who understands the struggle. There's something comforting about knowing the other person is learning too.
Yeah, they make mistakes, they hesitate, they forget words, and suddenly, your mistakes don't feel so big. Here's a simple structure that works really well.
30 minutes in English, 30 minutes in your language. No pressure to be perfect. Just talk. Another thing people worry about is, what do I even talk about?
Honestly, normal stuff. Daily life, work, food, plans. You don't need interesting topics, you need comfortable ones.
Something interesting happens in real conversations. You start learning things books never teach, like fillers. You know, let me think. You learn how people interrupt politely, how they change topics, how they react naturally.
Here's a big lesson. You don't need to finish every sentence perfectly. You can stop.
Restart. Correct yourself. That's not weakness, that's fluency. And this is where a lot of learners have an aha moment.
They realize something. Fluent speakers don't build sentences word by word. They use chunks. Chunks are ready-made phrases, small patterns your brain recognizes instantly.
For example, instead of thinking, I want appointment, you just say, I'd like to schedule an appointment.
Chunks remove decision-making. You're not choosing grammar in real time. You're pulling a phrase from memory, which makes speaking faster and calmer.
Once you start listening for chunks, you hear them everywhere. In my opinion, to be honest, that makes sense. I'm not sure about that. These phrases act like bridges in conversation. Now let's talk about pronunciation, but not in a scary way.
Here's the truth. You don't need perfect pronunciation. You need clear pronunciation, and clarity gives confidence.
Don't try to fix everything. Pick 2 or 3 sounds that are hard for you. Maybe TH, maybe R and L, maybe vowel sounds.
5 minutes a day is enough, just drilling those sounds. Tongue twisters, short videos, repeating out loud.
And here's the confidence boost. When people understand you easily, you relax. You speak more. You take more risks.
At some point, something shifts. You stop worrying about being good and start focusing on being understood. That's real communication.
So now you're not just practicing alone, you're talking to real people, using real phrases, making real mistakes, and surviving them. Okay, so let's talk about how to make English part of your daily life, not as study, but as an environment.
Yeah, let's talk about the last piece of the puzzle, the part that connects everything.
Motivation is nice, but motivation is unreliable. Some days you feel excited.
Some days you feel tired, busy, distracted. That's why environment matters more. Your environment decides what you practice even when you're not trying.
A lot of people think immersion means moving abroad, which, yeah, not very realistic for most people. But immersion doesn't have to be big.
It can be small, daily, and consistent, making English the default naturally.
Start with something simple. Your phone. Change the language to English. Notifications, settings, menus, all English. At first, it's annoying. Then it becomes normal.
Next, listening. Podcasts while walking, videos while eating.
English in the background. Not to study, just to hear it. And yes, Netflix counts, but there's one rule. English subtitles on, not off. You're connecting sound to spelling. That's powerful.
Here's a trick people underestimate. Follow English-speaking creators, topics you already enjoy, comedy, business, fitness, gaming, anything. If it's interesting, your brain stays engaged.
And slowly, something changes. English stops feeling like homework. It becomes part of your day, like music, like scrolling.
But let's be honest, at some point, resistance shows up. You miss a day, then 2 days, and your brain says, see, you're not consistent.
Here's the truth nobody talks about. Consistency doesn't mean perfection. It means returning, again and again. You don't fail because you stop. You fail when you don't come back.
Now we need to talk about mistakes, not in a motivational way, in a realistic way. Mistakes feel personal. They feel like judgment, like proof you're bad.
But that's not what they are. Mistakes are feedback, signals, your brain saying, okay, not that, let's adjust. No mistake means no growth.
Every fluent speaker you admire spoke badly at some point. A lot. They just didn't quit. Let's be very clear here. Your goal is not perfect English, not academic English, not sounding like a textbook. Your goal is communication.
Being understood. Confidence isn't a feeling you wait for. It's evidence you collect. Every time you speak, even badly, I'm going to add one more piece of evidence. Here's the real formula. Speak, survive, repeat. That's it. So let's put it all together.
You start alone, shadowing, self-talk, then low-pressure conversations, chunks, clear pronunciation, daily exposure.
You don't need hours. 20 to 30 minutes a day. That's enough. Every day. If English feels hard sometimes, good. That means you're using it.
If you feel uncomfortable, that means you're growing. So if you take one thing from this conversation, let it be this. Don't wait to feel ready.
Yeah. Speak now. Messy, imperfect, human. That's how fluency is built. All right, go speak some English.
We'll see you next time.